Hello, everyone. My name is Kaylee Araujo, and I'm going to be doing Module 5 Weekly Reflection. Um, One of the things that I thought was very interesting in Chapter 4 was the part that they discussed about speaking a foreign language and how it can be intimidating. And I believe that when a lot of our students that come into our classrooms feel this intimidation, feel this reason not to participate, feeling like they can't participate because they don't understand or won't be understood, I think that it affects all of the areas of development, academically, emotionally, and all. So I think as educators, we have to take a look at the students that are coming into our classroom as far as their cultures and how they are addressed at home and how they are communicating and expressing themselves. When I was younger, I remember starting off learning how to speak English. Later on in the years, I had to go ahead and try to communicate as much as I can in Spanish because that was my native language. And I remember feeling intimidated. I remember feeling scared that I would get in trouble for just not being able to understand the directions well. Like I would hesitate. I would try to, look at other peers, see what they're doing, and then maybe kind of do what they're doing. And then in the end, it was very frustrating for me because I would never get it right on the spot, in which I liked school. So I wanted to make sure that I was making a good impression. With my teachers, and a lot of the times it did. A lot of times other teachers didn't understand why I was doing the things I was doing, and it takes a lot of prior knowledge, and it takes a lot of experience to try to understand why our students are doing the things that we're doing in their classroom. Another thing that I thought was very interesting was the fact that we should learn how to say a child's name correctly. It's just a form of respect. Growing up, my name was mispronounced every single time. It was pronounced as Kelly, and my name is Kaylee. And so a lot of the times I would just shrug it off and say, it's a common error. They would just forget that the I is there. And as an adult now, I make sure that I make it clear that my name is Kaylee. And not only do I take pride in my name, my name has a background in such that my mom wanted to use a name that was widely used at the time that she had me and make it her own, make it a little bit more Latin, make it a little bit more cultured for her and her family. So she put an I inside and said that your name is Kaylee. And so I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was interesting the way she did that and how she tried to keep our tradition and our culture inside my own name. But being apart from being born into another society, another type of culture, a lot of the times I had to clash with those kind of, conflicts of name pronunciation. So a lot of the times, like I said, when I was younger, I would shrug it. But now as an adult, I make sure that I make my name pretty apparent because it's a representation of my culture, of my traditions, and my family. Another thing that I thought was very interesting was the article that had to do with the factors that do affect second language acquisition, SLA. And I thought that was a really cool acronym, something new that I learned. I thought that it was interesting to reflect back on the fact that young children are more likely to obtain a new language and learn a new language as they're younger than a teenager or an adult would. And this is a fact that I've been going through with different courses and different articles that I've been reading. The fact that it's easier for younger children to attain a new language and to acquire it because they already have a native language that they can base off on. And it's easier for them to go ahead and switch to the next new language. And I see it in my classroom. I work with young children 4 to 5 years old, and a lot of them come in my classroom with Spanish, but very dominant Spanish language. And so it's a topic that's recurring in my community because a lot of my parents ask me, how do I address this concept if I only know how to speak Spanish? And I tell them, and it's something that I've learned, and as well my supervisor has given us trainings about this, and she talks about how it's important to maintain the home language, but to try your best to give instruction in one straight language. For example, one teacher will do English and another teacher will do Spanish. And so the language would be acquired, even though they don't respond to you in the same language, but they're listening to it. They are processing the information and they're responding in their own language, which I thought was pretty cool. Like, I didn't think that was happening, and the whole explanation of it was so big. But when I saw it in action, it took more than less than 3 seconds. I remember speaking to a child, and I knew that she only speaks Spanish, and with a very heavy accent. And I gave her a question. It was like a random question about a book. It was like, what do you think this story is about? And she responded to me the question entirely and answered correctly, but in Spanish. And I was like, wow, like, that's amazing how that can happen. And little by little, I know that she's getting closer into producing the English language, and because she just has a really, really good Spanish foundation. So I think that Spanish language foundation. So I thought that was really, really interesting. And I thought that the article brought upon more support onto the fact that the younger the child is, it's better for them to learn and acquire a new language. Thank you.